Welcome to Goats Gardens and Healthy Tips. I'm just heating up a mug of my delicious garden bean soup that I make, and I thought I would share the recipe. So the last time I made this, I put it in some containers in the freezer, and I wrote down the recipe. Normally I'm just kind of throwing stuff in my crock pot, my handy crock pot that I love so much. And I had been using up some of the last of the season from my garden. So this batch comes from the end of the garden year. And I decided, hey, I think I'm going to share this recipe because it's so good. So I actually went through and I wrote down what I put in here, measured some things out and such like that. And so I'm going to share that recipe with you. It is so good. It is so hearty and so nutritious. It has no meat in it, so if you're a meat eater, this is not a meat soup. This is just bean soup, but it is packed full of protein and good nutrition and a lot of vegetables from the garden. I really like this because I just love using all the fresh vegetables from my garden. It's also so great in the winter to make it because I can take the bags of frozen vegetables that I have in the freezer and use it in here, and I have my dried beans from the garden. So it really just becomes just like a great garden bean soup is what I call it. So this is just my personal recipe that I've put together just from making it so often, and you'll need a trusty crock pot, which I love this crock pot if you are looking for a good crock pot. This is a Hamilton Beach. The reason I like it so much is because it's large. I'm not sure what the capacity is, but it's quite large. And then I like it because the cover will snap on here. So it has these little things here that will snap on. You push it down, so it seals it really tight. So this cooks in there really fast. I like to use it when I'm cooking up the meat when I make dog food too. Just a nice crock pot, and then it's got that typical high and low, and it also has a keep warm, and I like that because what I really like to do is make my soup overnight, whether I'm making my bean soup or some beef or chicken soup for Bob or something. I like to cook it overnight because then I can just cut everything up at night before I go to bed, put it in, set it on high for a little bit to get everything cooking while I'm up, and then I just turn it on low. And in the morning, everything is all cooked, and then I just put it on warm, and then we can have it for a nice early lunch. So that's kind of my go-to for making soup with my crock pot here. So anyways, I'm going to share this recipe with you. It's really good. You might want to try it, and really healthy. So the first thing is I use my beans from my garden. Now you can either use canned beans and rinse them, or you can use some just nice dried beans. And what I used was 2 cups of kidney beans. And normally I use a cup of red lentils. I love the red lentils in there, but you'll notice with this recipe, this batch of soup, I did not have any red lentils, so I substituted a cup of black beans from my garden. So with the beans, I'll take them and put them in a little saucepan, and I'll cook them for a little bit and drain them. And that just helps so that they aren't so gassy. It takes away the substance that makes them gassy. So you just cook them a little bit. I'm going to say let's cook them for 10 minutes or something like that, and then put them in a strainer and drain them and rinse them, and then throw them right in the crock pot. So on a normal thing, I would put about 2 cups of a kidney bean or something, a cup of the red lentils, and like I said, this time I'm substituting a cup of black beans, and then 2 cups of mung beans. I love the mung beans. These are not from my garden. They are purchased. I bought some organic mung beans, and I put 2 cups of mung beans in there. And then I'll put a large sweet potato, or this time I'm using rutabaga. I had a lot of rutabaga from my garden yet, and so I used a bag of frozen rutabaga. Now, the sweet potato that I like to use is a Jersey sweet potato. It's got a white flesh, and it's just so good. I just love that sweet potato. It's not as extremely sweet as a orange sweet potato. They're all good, and anything will work, but that's the one that I like to use. If you haven't tried those, they're super yummy. Then I just got carrots. These were carrots that were from my garden, and just some of the end of the year carrots, and skin those, wash them, skin them, cut them up. I always wash everything in vinegar water just to make sure it doesn't have any bugs or parasites or something like that on it, bacteria. So I cut up the carrots, and that I did not put an amount because, you know, you're just going to use what you like to use. Some people may not want a lot of carrots in there, and some people might want a lot of carrots in there. Same with the celery. I just cleaned my celery, cut it up, got that in nice bite-sized pieces for the soup. Then I use collard leaves. I love collards. They're so yummy and they taste delicious in the soup. So I used about 6 medium-sized collard leaves. And there again, I just soak them in the vinegar water and then chop them up. Now some people will take out the whole spine on the inside and some people leave it in. You can do whatever you want to do. I usually just leave it and chop it up with the collards, but that's to your preference. All right, and then I used 5 charred leaves and stem, and I cut those up as well to have with that. Mixed it right in with the collards. Of course, we want to put some mushrooms in there. Mushrooms are so healthy. They're a really good anti-cancer. Well, a lot of these vegetables are. Chard is like a super detoxifying, really healthy leafy green, and the mushroom is a good anti-cancer vegetable. So I just got some fresh mushroom, washed them again, and cut them up. If I don't have fresh mushroom, I will use canned mushroom as well. Then I put some sea salt in. I like to use this sea salt, the Redmond sea salt. It is got a lot of really good minerals in it and just like a super healthy sea salt. So I like to use that sea salt. And then you're just going to sprinkle that to taste. Then I add water. And so how much water do you use? I put water in. You know, my crock pot now is going to be pretty full of the beans and the vegetables. And so I just put water in and fill it up so that it's not going to overflow, but it's going to give me a really nice lot of broth because all this is going to cook overnight and it's going to make just a delicious broth with the beans, the vegetables, and the water. So there again, some people like really thick soup, and some people like more of a brothy soup. So it kind of depends upon what you like for your soup. Now this soup that I'm eating right now, as you can see, is pretty thick. So you could water that down if you want to, but it's so yummy. And then I just have a little bowl of rice with this, and it makes a really good, the beans and rice make a really good protein, so it makes a really good meal. All right, so you get all those ingredients in there. Snap up the lid and everything, or whatever, whatever kind of crock pot you have. Put it on high for, I don't know, maybe like an hour, hour and a half or something like that. I get it high so it gets it nice and hot. And then I turn it on low and I just let it cook overnight. And in the morning, it smells wonderful when you get up in the morning. And then turn it on medium, and then I just have it for lunch. And then after I'm done with that, I'll put it in a container to put in the refrigerator, and then I'll put it in some smaller containers to put in the freezer. So that is my healthy garden bean soup recipe, and wanted to share that with you. It's so good. And now we're in the winter, and it's a great time to eat soup. So maybe you'll want to be trying my bean soup recipe. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.